Welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Business. This is season 3, episode 32. And this is your co-host, Amy Zander with ZD Media. And as always, I am with the lovely Lisa Fisher. How you doing, Lisa?
Amy, I am doing really well. I'm excited about our guest today, and I know we'll get to that in a minute. But as always, I get to spend another 30 minutes with you, and that always warms my heart. So, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, looking forward to the holidays. The Thanksgiving is in just in a couple days. And I know this will come out after that, but we'll all be full by then. Now we're just anticipating all that yummy food. Well, that's good. We'll see family. My kiddo's coming home from college, so that'll be good. And it's finally a little bit cold outside. You know me, I love the cold weather, so I love winter. But I didn't go to Silver Bells. I know that was just this past Friday.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't go to that, but I did go to the Lansing Art Gallery's big holiday show opener. That was the 14th, and that was huge. I'm on the board there, so I can say I have a little bit of an inside advantage. But I know we did better at this show than we did last year, so we did. That's great, right? So that just means we sold more artist art, which is always good. So that was fun. And I go downtown a lot to go to the art gallery when I'm working there. And I got to see the big red balls down there and the trees up. And, it's always exciting for Lansing when all that kind of stuff happens.
I love it. I love it. Going downtown, have you been to Batter Up Bistro?
I have been there. Yeah. They have one of the best salads I've ever eaten in Lansing.
They are phenomenal. I had the honor of meeting with Susan from Junior Achievement there. And, that was a stomping ground for me to do a lot of generating ideas and things that were going on. And as COVID, things, took a hit. But when they reopened, I was just like, yes, my place. Got my place back. So
it's really cute in there. I mean, it really does look like a little
is.
French bistro. I mean, I say that like I've been to France and I haven't, but it has that vibe to it. It's very, very, very cute in there. Yeah.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah.
And
so, Regina, our guest, what have you been doing around town?
Wow. You know what? I have so many things on my calendar for December. All the gatherings and lately I have been traveling to meet people that I met during the pandemic, but in real life.
Nice.
And so I've been traveling around the country from Seattle to Dallas. It's been amazing. And I just got back from LA, not meeting anybody in real life other than my daughter, who I haven't seen for a year and a half. So what I do love to do though, this time of year is run around to all my favorite places. Batter Up Bistro is delightful. And the owner, Carey, right? She's so wonderful. If you ever have an opportunity to get her in a moment to talk with her, her story is amazing. Yeah. But I love running around to Cravings, to Sweet Encounters, to all the places that I like to get gifts and foods for the holiday. Gray's Craze, oh my gosh, gonna be doing charcuterie boards and stuff for the holidays. So yeah, that kind of thing. It brings me so much joy that we have such wonderful food and people in our
and stores. That brings up a really good point, and we can't say it enough. Shop local, shop often, support all the small businesses in town. It's up to us to keep all these places in business, right? My husband was an essential worker during COVID, and he said he felt like he was single-handedly keeping all of the places that make Reubens in business, because that was his comfort food, and he had his little circuit that he went around town once a week. Every day you get a Reuben somewhere else, so it does make a difference. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Well, you've heard her voice, Lisa. Why don't you tell us who we've got today?
So I have the honor of just briefly introducing Regina Carey with Carry On, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her, what she does, who she is. But before I do that, Regina, my first introduction to you was at the National Association of Career Women. I attended as a guest, kind of stealthily, snuck in, you greeted me, gave me a name tag, and I didn't go for many, many, many months. And when I returned, Regina, you remembered my name. And it was because of that I signed on to be a member of that group, because you are that awesome.
Mhm.
So, listeners, I give to you one of my favorites, Regina Carey, founder of Carry On. Tell us all about you.
That is the best. That is how everyone wants to be introduced. You know, it's like Maya Angelou says, you know, we remember how people make us feel.
Yeah.
And I love being that person. I love people. And while COVID wrecked a lot of that, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it helped us all get to know each other or get to know ourselves better so that we can be even better when we go back out and are with people again, which I think we're all learning to do that. And I love the name of my company. Not that it's because it's my last name, but it really is all about carry on. My goal is to not have you as my client anymore. I want to work with people and give them the strategies, the tools, the techniques to stand up in their own power and take action on their one beautiful life. And that's really what my work is all about. And I've had the opportunity to sort of hit the reset button every single time my husband was doing his professional training. So I started as a special ed teacher, and from then my career looks like a family circus cartoon. It really does.
I can relate. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what is Carry On, Regina? Tell us, what is Carry On?
Right. So what my work is about, passion instigation, which is what I have here. And I really love taking somebody who's stuck and feels like maybe they're living Groundhog Day, you know, where it's the same old, and they know something has to change and they want to make a shift. And I like to think that I'm sort of like the little kid who tells the emperor that he's naked. I am somebody who's going to tell you the truth, who's going to ask questions in a way that is naive enough that it sparks people's imagination and creativity. I don't need to know what it is that you do in your professional life. I want to know how you want to feel in your life. And when we begin those conversations, life shifts. And so my work as a special ed teacher, way back when, I taught for 3.5 years, which is the professional timeline of a special educator, believe it or not. But I had an opportunity to get my master's at UNC Chapel Hill, and I jumped on that to have a bigger impact so I could teach teachers. And as a special ed teacher, I always had to listen in a different way to my students because they never were really saying what it is they meant. You know, we had to get real concrete, and I learned how to read in between the lines and ask better questions. And as a result, I've always been very interested and drawn to people who have invisible disabilities, ADHD, learning disabilities, autism, chronic pain, the kind of things that affect us and every aspect of our lives without being noticed. You know, we look at people, they look normal, but one in four people have an invisible disability. And
Yeah.
so I work with individuals, I work with companies and do team building and leadership. I also speak on stages, and I've written a little bit, working on a book now.
Can you tell us anything, or you want to keep that under wraps for now?
What I will tell you is that this book is all about passion instigation and helping people look at their Mondays a little differently.
Have the Sunday blues, right?
I
That
am
happens to a
such a
lot of
Monday
people.
girl. I'm a
Yeah.
Monday girl. Have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Nice. Cool.
Love
So
it.
how, tell us a little bit about the process of your book writing. Like, where are you in the process? Almost done, in the middle?
Oh, the book writing. Well, I have the book in hand. I am so it's in the beta
Okay.
version, and
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a publisher right now. So I've got
Nice.
some, yeah, and even one of my clients just opened up her own printing company. So that is really cool, because this was somebody who started out not even acknowledging her gifts, and she's skyrocketed.
Wow.
It's amazing
Yeah.
to see. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
been
you
fun.
do, I know you have some group coaching, right? I have some friends that have taken what I believe I don't know if you still call it this, but originally it was called Plyovation, right?
Yes.
Some
Yes.
friends that have taken that. So you do that, and then you do one-on-one business coaching as well, and then keynotes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And groups. I'm working with an all-female leadership team right now, and it's, what we really have to do as women is come together and share our stories, because so often we feel alone, and we think we're the only one who is only feeling stressed or tired.
Right.
And the group I've got going right now, called 8 Seats. I have 8 butts in 8 seats. So my women around the table, it's a collective of wisdom. My age range for this group is 45 to 74.
Wow.
And so
Excellent.
we're all coming from a different perspective on life, and being able to share that with one another. It's so powerful, and it helps us in ways that we can't even imagine.
Right.
There is so much power and value in collaboration, because people do not know what other people have gone through. And we don't necessarily need to throw it out on billboards, but I remember in a classroom setting in younger generation person was talking about the struggles of daycare, and then somebody that was a baby boomer said, been there, done that, we figured it out as well. So then there could be a little more empathy going on with what was happening. So I love that you have that age range, and that people are hearing other people's stories, and recognizing they're not alone, and that there's power in numbers.
So Regina, will you share a little bit with us about some of the topics or things that you discuss in these types of groups?
Absolutely. So to lay the foundation here, I am a 7 on the Enneagram. Those of you who know the Enneagram will not be surprised. I'm a 7. So for my entire life, I've been finding the silver lining. I am the one who's going to pull the positive out of the tragedy, take it as an opportunity. And that in and of itself sometimes makes it difficult, not only for my children to have a mother who's positive and upbeat for the most part, but it is tough to move forward when you can't see the good in it. You don't know why it's happening. And we need to continue to build our resiliency muscles. So resilience is something that I teach a lot. I have keeping strong people strong, because when we are running our own businesses, when we're in leadership positions, we have to keep showing up. That's the only way. I mean, talk about adventures in business. I didn't know what I was doing. I never took a business class at all. But I knew if I kept showing up, that something was going to happen. And so helping people with continuing to show up. And how does that look? I am always working mind, body, spirit. I love working in threes. So if people are walking away from a session with me, they always have 3 action tasks. I work, what are your thoughts? What is your body doing? Are you feeding your spirit? This is what the passion instigation is about. We have to be able to know what drives us, why we get out of bed in the morning. And we can lose sight of that when we're starting our businesses, we're in our businesses, because it gets really murky and we're feeding ourselves with all this stuff. So another area that I teach is about values and identifying really what's important to you and how does that drive decisions. And do you want to know a secret?
Yeah, always.
I'll share a secret today. Women are fed all of the things. We are told what's important by our family of origin, by our educational systems, by our religious communities, by our work environments. We have so many things. And when I do a values exercise with women, I give them a list of maybe 200 words, and you'd be amazed. Almost every word on that page is circled or starred or checked because they think it's important. And what we do is whittle that down. We whittle that down to 2 core values, just 2. Because when women know what's most important today, they let go of guilt. And if you know what's important to you and you filter your decisions through those values, there's no more shooting on yourself. I
Yeah.
should be over here. Oh, no, I should be over there. Or I feel so guilty that I'm not filling the blank.
XYZ, whatever, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And knowing your core values wipes those words right out of your vocabulary. I don't remember the last time I said I felt guilty about something.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It is a nice thing. And
Mhm.
everybody has the ability to let that go because we know guilt is self-inflicted.
Mhm.
Nobody puts that on you but you.
Yeah.
So
People
if
can try.
anybody, what's that?
People can try, and it's whether you allow it or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But you do have the choice. And
Yeah.
what I will say is if anybody hearing this today would like to run through a values exercise with me, we can get it done in a 15-minute phone call or Zoom,
Mhm.
either way.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
happy that if people say they heard this podcast and they're interested in doing that, I will absolutely do that with them.
Excellent.
Mhm.
And your website is queenofaction.com. Is that the best way for people to find out how to get a hold of you?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
All right. So
Mhm.
that's queenofaction.com. So check it out, figure out how to get a hold of Regina and talk to her about your values and find out all the other good things with her on that website. And if you're driving or can't write that down or anything, don't worry. It will be in the show notes. So you can just find it on the show notes of her website. So don't worry.
I think that was one of the things about core values that really stood out to me. Like you said, we could circle all of them, but what are aspirational core values? Sometimes it's those things that we aspire to be important, but being able to identify and bring it down is critical for our decision-making process because it's being able to stack everything up against our beliefs, our values, and what's important. And sometimes we have to be careful if we're in positions that are compromising our core values. So,
Yes.
how would you help somebody through that, Regina?
Geez. That one of, if I could, I'd have this tattooed on me somewhere, but the body never lies. And so when we feel out of alignment, when we begin to experience pain in our bodies, that is a signal that something has to change. I really do believe that when we are not in alignment with what is most important to us, if we're saying yes to all the things, that our body will rebel, that we will either get sick or have some sort of disease process going on, certainly inflammation. And so getting somebody to really speak out loud what it is they want, not worrying about social constructs or what they were taught as children or what they should be doing. It's almost, I've had women whisper to me, what it is that's most important to them, as if they're going to be scolded. And many of them have been, the shaking finger, shame on you.
Right.
Yeah. And so beginning to identify and speak out loud, really using your voice to talk about what it is that you want, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I just did with somebody today was I showed them this construction. Do you remember these? What
Yeah,
is
we
that?
made them for like Christmas trees and
Christmas
stuff.
trees.
Yeah, the
Yep.
loops of the so for our listeners, the loops of construction paper that you make into a chain and put around your tree.
Right.
Yeah.
We remember these from our childhood. I used to do these as a countdown for Christmas, when my kids were little. What I did, though, is I created a chain link of 20. And what I literally just said to a woman today is, if I were to live the timeline, the lifeline of my mother, I'd have 20 Thanksgivings left, 20 holidays. This chain link right here. That's it. If I were to live the lifeline of my father, this would be my last holiday season. And what I want people to realize, and what I really do, is instill this idea that we're not going to live forever. So now that you know you're not going to live forever, how are you going to live? We do a lot of this work because we want to live a life that we can die from. And I did not create that quote. That quote came from Alua, A-L-U-A, Alua Arthur. And she is a death doula. And she teaches people about living
Mm-hmm.
and how to be able to talk about dying.
Right.
And when we can do that, man, we live fully. If you knew you had a year to live, what changes would you make?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to a podcast recently about this subject, sort of, and one of the people said that when they were given a terminal illness diagnosis was when they really started living, and and they could, and they were young, right, like
Mm-hmm.
midlife, not real, and so. And he talked about how that was, he used it as a blessing that he could live his life fully with the time, because he's like, he knew how much time he had about, right? The rest of us don't know that, so that was interesting. I do want to go back to something that you were saying earlier, though, when you're talking about saying what you want in your values and things like that, and the woman who whispered it to you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find, because it sounds like with what you've been saying, you work mostly with women. Was that true? Okay. Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find, or do you think, and Lisa, you could probably talk to this too, is that it's not as easy for women to say what we want as it is for men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we do, we think it has to be about helping someone else. Oh, I want to give back, or I want my children to be happy, or it's like what we really are. So there will be a different, I think, sometimes a reaction with if a woman business owner was like, I want to make a ton of money, versus a man who was like, I want to make a ton of money, right? I don't know if that's true or not, because that's one of, we all want to make money. I want to make money. I say that. Part of my reason for it is that I want to be a philanthropist. I want to give money back. Like, I love that feeling of walking in the room and being like, here's a check to solve your problems. Like, I want to be able to do that someday.
Absolutely.
But it's also self-serving. It's not completely like, oh, I want to give to other people. I want to be the one who walks in the room and gives you the check. Yeah, I want to be that person.
Yes.
But it's weird to say that. It seems like bragging, or saying
But
something.
that's because we've been taught that's don't brag about yourself. We don't talk about that, and
Right.
that's not nice to ask somebody how much they make. Whatever.
Right.
We really have been programmed right out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of that work with women. We celebrate the wins anytime we're together. We
Sure.
talk about what's working and what's going well. And I use a lot of books, women authors. Now, I have never been a reader. I'm also undiagnosed. I think I'm undiagnosed dyslexic. So as a child, I was the classic busybody. I wanted to be the teacher's helper. I wanted to run down to the office. I wanted to help other students so that I didn't have to do my work, because it
Right.
was really painful for me to sit still.
Yeah.
And then I'd go home at night and I'd work for hours and hours on my homework.
Mhm.
And I'd come back the next day, all my work is done. There's no problem. I don't look like I have anything going on. But when Audible came out, you guys,
Mm.
it changed my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
listening to things, I cannot get enough of it. But I often refer many of my clients to books written by women, one in particular by Jen Sincero, "You're a Badass,"
I
right?
love it.
She has
Love
Yeah.
this
her.
great quote
Mm.
that says, and I've got it right up here, which is why I'm looking up, "The world needs kick-ass people to be out of struggle and living large and on purpose so they can be an inspiration to others who want to rise up too."
Mm.
And
Yeah.
when we are impacting more people, we are earning more income so that we can do more in our business to impact more people. It's this beautiful, look at that. I like made a heart with my hand. Exactly
Yeah.
what we're doing. And
Hmm.
in doing that, we are healing our hearts because we
Mhm.
are being very audacious, aren't we, to get out and actually say the thing and be honest and teach people and throw imposter phenomenon off to the
Yeah.
side. That's what we've got to do.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And we need more cheerleaders like you and
Mm,
Lisa who help people do that too. Yeah.
And for me, authenticity equals freedom, right? So when we can teach
Mm.
people to be authentic, to say, what they feel, what's on their mind, to go for what they want, to develop confidence, if you
Hmm.
will, it's important. And I know we're referencing a lot of women, but men
Yeah.
equally.
absolutely.
And sometimes I think it's even harder for men because going back to the
Mm.
expectations that the world puts on male versus female. And I'm sure that you experience a lot of that too, Regina, with your group. But you just wrote a word on your flip chart called wait. So for those of you that are listening and not viewing this on our YouTube, tell us about what your
Well,
weight stands for.
WAIT. I often say I help women with their weight problem
I love
because
it. I love
we
it.
do. We think we're going to wait. Somebody just said to me today, I stay in my job and I stay in my marriage because of my family. I'm waiting for my kids to grow up. I'm
Mm.
waiting for the job to change. I'm waiting for this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. The truth is, if she had a terminal diagnosis, you better bet she'd be gone. She'd
Right.
be out. She'd be doing what she wants to be doing. And that's what I want people to realize. Why wait?
Right.
Let's stop waiting
Yeah.
and take action. And I love that we're doing this on Take Action Tuesday. That's my
Oh,
one of
right.
my favorite days.
Yeah.
But I challenge everyone listening, like, what is your weight? And
Mhm.
nobody likes to be asked what their weight is, but what is your weight? WAIT. What is it that you've put a pin in and said, I'm going to wait until this happens? And you know what? When it comes to waiting for things for your kids,
Yeah.
because of your kids, they would hate to know that because
Yeah.
they are so aware. They know what's going on. They know when there's struggle. They know when you're unhappy. And
Yeah.
in fact, I just recently asked my 17-year-old son, if you had one wish for your mom, for me, what would you wish for? And he said that you would have more time to yourself to do what
Oh,
makes you happy. Can you get over it? I was like,
wow.
wow. But sometimes just even asking your family,
Yeah.
what would you wish for me if you had one wish?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
That'd be a good question for Thanksgiving dinner. Even though this is coming out after Thanksgiving, I might do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Regina, what would you say to somebody who their reason for the wait is economical?
I would say let's where your focus goes, energy flows.
Mhm.
And if we believe that we don't have enough money to do the thing, then we start to spend more time with the money.
Mhm.
Well, and that's what I think of, the weight is sometimes also stuck. People feel stuck because where your focus goes, your energy flows. I love that.
Yeah.
And so it's important to be able to help people get past that and to
Right.
get over some of those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts, right? Because that's our programming.
Right.
Is there anything? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a great book that Steve Chandler just wrote about systems. And it's all about stop, looking at yourself and saying, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this thing? Why can't I have the money to do what I want to do? Instead of beating yourself up, step back and look at the systems you're using. It's a systems problem, not a you problem. We are whole and complete. And if we can look at how we are systematizing, how we're doing things in our life, we all have systems. We can tweak those to get unstuck. Just like if you're stuck in your car, your tire is spinning, you're going to find something that you can use to grip that tire so you can get out of there.
Yep. And sometimes that's a phone call to somebody who can help you, right? Which could be Regina Carey at queenofaction.com. Yeah, absolutely.
As usual, Regina, we could listen to you talk all day long, but I do want to ask, is there anything that you want to share with the listeners that we've not asked you about?
The one thing that people may not know about me is that I have made taken two extreme adventures. One was hiking the Camino. I did about 200 miles of that in 12 days. And I also climbed Machu Picchu, extreme adventure. And what I want people to know is I did these things as a result of a very hard emotional hit that came into my life. And you don't have to wait until you have an acute event or a tragedy to take action. And what I know is that it's important to spend time alone. You don't have to go to Peru or Spain to do it. But spending time feeling your emotions, working with somebody who can help you and sit with you and hold you in that energetic space to feel those emotions is so important, because that's what's going to get us healthy and strong and keep us coming back day after day as resilient business owners and leaders in our community. And one of the best quotes I've ever heard is, to know a community is to know its women. And I think that is so true. So take care of the women in your life, lift them up, link arms with them, collaborate, like you were saying, Lisa. Let's lift each other up, because we are so much stronger together.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah. So I know something about you people might not know, is that you almost always wear Converse shoes, and so do I. So we often compare our shoes when we see each other.
That's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Comfort.
Yeah, comfort. Yeah. But I also want to let our listeners know that if you have liked what you've heard here, this was just a taste. You can come to my 2025 Marketing Summit in May of 2025 and hear Regina as the keynote speaker. So she will be starting off the day, pumping everybody up and getting everybody excited to learn about lots of cool marketing things. And you can find that information on my website at ZD Media. Tickets go on sale for that in January 2025, just around the corner. Yes, but I am so excited and honored to have you at that event. It's a big dream for me to have you there. So thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Regina, for joining us today. It has been such, as usual, a pleasure to be on the same screen, in the same room, any opportunity.
Yeah,
I love it. I
for
love it.
sure.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And to all our listeners, thank you again for coming on an adventure with us. We usually release episodes on Wednesdays. And next week next week from this episode will be our season closer. So don't forget to come and hear what Lisa and I have to say about finishing up season 3 and what's in store for us in the future. So happy holidays, everybody. Happy busy season. Take care of yourselves. And if you have a goal in 2025 to get real with yourself and to figure out what you want to do next, there's 2 amazing women on this podcast. Not me. That will be Regina or Lisa. You can talk to them. Well, yeah, I can help you with your marketing, but they can help you get really real with yourselves. So reach out, check out the show notes to how to get in touch with all of us, and be safe out there. And as always, make it an adventure.
This is a Zedia Media production.